On the night of April 19, 2025, Lakewood Police found a 22-year-old woman at a Marathon gas station, driving on 2 blown right-side tires coming from a concert venue and having admitted to consuming alcohol. Her stated route contradicted what officers personally observed. That combination of facts is what converted a roadside accident call into a criminal OVI investigation.
I went to a metal concert. I had maybe one shot like 3 hours ago. But this is what I had to do in order to not hit him head on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go through that. I don't want to hit a car.
Yeah.
So I hit the curb instead.
You did the right thing in that aspect.
Yeah, I hit the curb instead. This is the closest gas station possible from the.
So what's your plan right now?
I have called roadside. I've called my grandmother who the car's in her name, so she's on her way. I've called my ex, who I rely on for, just emotional support and whatnot.
Okay.
So they're both on their way.
Is this the only damage to the car here?
Yes.
And you're sure you didn't hit any other types of cars or anything like that?
No, I did not hit anything but the curb. Both tires are flat.
Do you know what street you're on when it happened?
I am not too sure.
Okay.
Because I was on my way home to grab something, and then I was going to a DJ event. Obviously, that's not happening.
Following her a little bit. Both her tires are obviously flat. Hey. She said she was going. You said you don't know exactly what street it was?
No, not exactly.
I guess she didn't. One of the cars didn't give her enough room. She hit the curb. So
where'd you hit it at?
I'm not sure what street I was on, but there was some guy heading towards me. He did not get over whatsoever, so I hit the curb instead. Because I did not want a head-on collision.
Where are you coming from?
Mercury Lounge, which is over on Madison, I believe.
Okay, so you went to Mercury Music Lounge.
Yes, I was coming from there.
So you came from Mercury, and then did you go anywhere like before you came here, or did you get here straight from Mercury?
This is straight from Mercury.
Okay, well, where this is turning northbound from going eastbound?
I was heading towards Parma. I had my directional on towards my house, and this is the
I originally saw her going eastbound on Detroit.
From where? Because I saw it turn. You're sure you didn't go anywhere else?
No, I didn't stop anywhere else.
Okay, because Mercury's back that way. You were coming from this way going eastbound.
It's just the way my directional takes me. It's really weird. My directional is a lot different from a lot of other people's, apparently.
What directional?
My GPS, I mean.
What GPS do you have?
I have Google Maps, so it takes me a lot of different weird
So it's going to take
ways.
you westbound to go back eastbound?
All I know is that...
I'm just trying to make sense of it, because, I mean, see it from our side.
Here, I can grab it.
Yeah, like,
Is it unlocked? No,
not making any sense.
I know. Yeah, I went from Mercury to Detroit to West Clifton, then had me turn on to Lake, I think.
Lake's all the way up there.
Yeah, I'm not from here, so I'm not sure of the streets. I'm not around here a lot whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure of anything, really.
How far from Mercury did you hit, like, the curb?
Oh, like a minute and a half. Hardly.
Are you sure you didn't go in the Rocky River? Did you go over a bridge?
No. I only have 5%, so I had my phone charging, so I was worried about that, on top of just getting home.
Yeah. And you're positive you hit a curb?
Absolutely positive.
Okay.
And these tires they were shit to begin with, because it's...
You sure you didn't hit a car or anything?
I'm very sure. I did not hit anything.
There's like
the
marks
curb.
on the back there. So.
Oh, yeah, that's old. This was from
14, you went on a deal?
If you guys want to check the vehicle, you can go be my guest. There's none but kids. I said, if you guys want to check the vehicle, be my guest.
Okay.
There's nothing in here but kids' clothes. And...
We're just trying to figure out exactly what happened, like accident-wise.
No, I get it. Y'all are just trying to do your job. I'm just trying to get these tires fixed.
You said you already texted your grandma she's on the way?
Yeah, I already called everybody. I needed to call while I was on my way to the gas station.
You know how long till she gets here?
Maybe like 20, 25 minutes-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I called a couple of people. Told them where I was at. Told them what happened. Just trying to figure out how to move about the situation.
So did it happen like right when you were turning out of Mercury, or?
I turned out of Mercury and then...
Going eastbound.
Possibly. I'm very directionally challenged and a little stupid because I've had 10 concussions in the past 5 years, so my brain don't work like how it's supposed to.
So you got out onto Detroit. Mm-hmm. It happened before you hit West Clifton?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a big white pickup truck. It had a wide body kit on it that was coming towards me. I said, oh, yeah. Because he was going straight on, didn't get over whatsoever, and there was enough room to get over. So I just kind of turned the wheel.
And that was on the main road or the side street?
Side street. I don't know exactly which side street. Hit the curb, both tires popped. I got out, put the hazards on to make sure that it wasn't the axle or anything like that was crooked or split or anything like that. It was just the tires. Back tire doesn't look as bad as the front tire. The left side's okay. The right side is but yeah, all the, bumps and bruises besides that have just been old accidents, plus this is from a junkyard, so we already got it pre-used. But I should probably call her and let her know that I am at a gas station with y'all. Let her know what's going on, if that's okay with you.
I thought, did you already call her, you said?
Yeah, but I just want to keep updating her on everything,
Okay, keep calling her.
Alright.
Okay, see how long it's going to take until she gets here. Well, I'm going to have you go through some tests.
The English alphabet.
Absolutely.
Can you just recite it from A to Z without singing it?
A, B, C, D, E.
Don't sing it. Just
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Okay, can you just put the phone down for a moment?
Sorry. Trying to call people's. Get this tow truck out here.
Let's not worry about that right now.
Doesn't help that it's cold.
Just put your feet together. Put your
arms to your side. Can I take my shoes off?
Will you be more comfortable walking? Just during this test, keep your eyes on the tip of my finger, okay? Mm-hmm. And do not tilt or move your head. Do you understand?
Yep.
Okay.
Under Terry versus Ohio, an officer may extend a traffic stop beyond its original purpose when articulable facts support reasonable suspicion of a separate offense. The route discrepancy here was one such fact. When a subject's account of her own movements cannot be reconciled with direct officer observation, that inconsistency alone satisfies the Terry threshold and justifies further investigation. Ohio Revised Code. Section 4511.19 does not require a measured blood alcohol reading to establish probable cause for an OVI arrest. It requires only that a reasonable officer viewing the totality of the circumstances concludes impairment is more likely than not. 2 blown tires, a late-night departure from a music venue, admitted alcohol consumption, and a route discrepancy collectively satisfied that standard before the first field sobriety test was administered. The horizontal gaze nystagmus test is the most scientifically sound component of the NHTSA 3-test battery. 6 clues are evaluated, and 4 or more correctly identify approximately 88% of subjects above the legal limit. It measures an involuntary physiological response that a subject cannot consciously control, which makes it both the most reliable indicator of impairment and the hardest to challenge on performance grounds alone.
All right, good. We got 2 more tests to do. Probably sidewalks best. All right, we're going to have 1 more test after this one. Okay. For this test, I'm going to get you in the starting position, okay?
All right, just let me know what I got to do.
Okay, so keep your arms to your side, okay? During this test, you're going to imagine like a thin, straight, imaginary line in front of you. You're going to take a series of 9 heel-to-toe steps on the line. Mm-hmm. You're going to turn back around and take 9 heel-to-toe steps back in a line, okay?
Only 9?
Where's that? Yes, there and back. Like I said, don't start yet.
All right.
Okay?
Bad time to wear close to nothing.
During the test, just count your steps out loud. Keep your eyes on your feet. Keep your arms to your side, okay? Mm-hmm. You understand the test?
Yep.
Don't stop the test until you complete it.
It's cold.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm freezing.
Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Besides, if I could borrow a pair of pants.
All right, you may begin.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. Got 1 more test to do. During this test,
keeps the warmth in.
During this test, you're going to lift either foot. You're going to keep it approximately like 6 inches off the ground. You're going to keep your foot parallel to the ground.
Okay.
And you're going to count out loud 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, like that, okay?
All right. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11 1,000, 12 1,000, 13 1,000, 14 1,000, 15 1,000, 16. Do I have to say 1,000 no matter what?
Just keep going until I tell you to stop.
Sorry. A very bad night to wear close to nothing.
The walk and turn and one-leg stand tests evaluate divided attention and static balance respectively. Together, they carry a correct classification rate between 65 and 68%, significantly lower than the HGN. More critically, NHTSA protocol explicitly acknowledges that cold temperatures, improper footwear, and pre-existing physical conditions can generate false clues. All three factors were present in this encounter, and none were formally documented on camera. The subject disclosed a history of 10 concussions over 5 years, a neurological profile that directly affects balance and gaze stability. NHTSA guidelines require officers to record physical conditions that may affect test performance. Failure to do so creates a suppression argument at trial because defense counsel can credibly attribute FST clues to an undocumented medical history rather than alcohol, and the prosecution has no contemporaneous record to counter that argument.
Last test, okay? I need you to turn back around, okay?
All right. Just let me know what to do.
Oh, turn back around.
All right.
All right, just put your arms out to the side, okay? Just like that, all right?
So you're going to be under arrest for OVI, okay?
All right, we'll get you
Can you
back
fix my
here.
shawl for me, please?
The what?
The cover. It's really cold.
I gotta. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's crooked.
Get you in back here. All right, I'm gonna ask you some questions here in a bit.
I'll answer 'em.
Would you be willing to?
I'll answer 'em.
All right.
As long as you I have everything listed in my app because I've got memory issues because of my
Did you receive a head injury recently?
Yes. I hydroplaned and maneuvered the car, so I hit the tail end instead of head on,
Okay.
and I hit my head on the window. Some questions,
What's
but
wrong with you mentally?
besides PTSD, depression, anxiety. See, the last time this happened, nobody asked me any questions, didn't do anything. He just put me in handcuffs and stuck me in the car.
You don't remember us asking you questions?
No, he did not. I remember. He did not ask me any questions.
Okay.
He didn't make me do any road tests. He just stuck me in the car, put me in handcuffs. It was weird. I just mean I'm cold. That's all.
Oh,
Wearing next to nothing, it's 50, 60-ish degrees outside. Does not help anybody, especially me. It's cold
You
outside.
said you were arrested before?
I have a prior charge. I've had a OVI, which got dropped down to a 4th degree misdemeanor. I had a show. I dropped my friend off all the way out in Ashtabula. I was on my way home, and the back passenger seat tire blew. Pulled over instead of going to a gas station, and a police officer pulled up behind me. And granted, then I was smoking and drinking. Not that I'm doing that
tonight,
now.
right?
Pardon?
Kind of like tonight where your tires were blue somehow?
Oh, it was almost 0 degrees. It was absolutely freezing that night. I wasn't going to drink at all until my friend was like, "Oh, please." And then bought me a shot anyways, and I'm like, well, your money's going to go to waste if I don't do it, so I was just going to dump it behind me. I should have.
What?
So I was just going to dump it behind me. I should have.
Good.
I wish you guys had vents back here. Once again, it is f***ing freezing. A pair of sweatpants or something. Damn. I keep thinking I should put extra clothes in the car. I never do. It's so dirty back here. And I'm cold. I am so cold. Back to me. Don't make me cold. It's so cold. I get so cold. I should have wore pants. I can't keep living like this. I'm cold. I'm tired. I was supposed to go home, grab my eyeliner.
You said you had some cocktails, though.
No, that's the name of the bar.
Oh.
Is Cocktails. It's a gay bar on 83rd.
Did you have any drinks there?
No, that's where I was supposed to go after Mercury after I went home for a little bit.
If you have more than one shot, that's fine.
Right, but I didn't. That's just where that's the name of the bar that I was supposed to go to.
Okay. You're positive you only had one shot? Okay. All right, well.
On Miranda and the Fifth Amendment, under Berkemer versus McCarty, roadside questioning during a non-custodial traffic stop does not trigger Miranda requirements. The subject's admission of alcohol consumption made before arrest is fully admissible. However, once she was secured in the patrol vehicle, custodial interrogation had begun. Post-arrest questions about her prior OVI and drinking history, answered without a Miranda advisement, carry a suppression risk that could exclude that portion of the record. The court convicted the subject of second offense operating a vehicle impaired. Under Ohio Revised Code, Section 4511.19, a second OVI within a 10-year lookback carries a mandatory minimum of 10 days incarceration, a license suspension of 1 to 7 years, and fines between $525 and $2,500. The court additionally found she reoffended while under active probation, a finding that substantially aggravates the sentencing exposure under Ohio's graduated penalty structure. The officers receive a B+. The NHTSA battery was administered in correct sequence. No physical force was used, and the investigation was methodical throughout. The grade is reduced for 2 procedural failures: the absence of any on-camera documentation of the subject's concussion history as a test performance variable, and the lack of an audible Miranda advisement prior to in-car questioning. Both omissions create avoidable exposure for the prosecution and are correctable with training. The subject receives a C+. Cooperation with testing and voluntary disclosure of the prior OVI are credited. The grade is reduced because she made repeated self-incriminating statements during a roadside conversation she had no legal obligation to engage in. She was never informed of her right to decline, and she never exercised it. Operating under active probation from a prior OV, I transformed a potentially manageable charge into a mandatory minimum sentencing outcome. The core legal takeaway from this encounter applies to both sides of the interaction. For any driver, roadside questioning is not custodial and carries no obligation to respond. Declining to answer questions about alcohol consumption, prior record, or destination is a constitutional right under the Fifth Amendment, not obstruction. Exercising that right does not prevent field sobriety testing, but it eliminates the most consequential testimonial evidence from the prosecution's case. For law enforcement, the lesson is documentation. An arrest built on strong physical evidence and a properly sequenced FST battery can be undermined at trial by a single undocumented variable. When a subject discloses a medical or neurological history on camera, that disclosure must be formally noted in the same recording with an on-camera statement of how it was factored into the probable cause analysis. That step takes 30 seconds and protects the entire case. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching.